Sri Lord Shiva Bhagavati Sri Ma Durga Bhagavati Sri Hare Rama Bhagavati Om Shri Hare 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 Om Shri Hare Hare
It has a certain, it has its value, of course, but as everything does, everything in the life, everything in the nature has a certain value. But sometimes some things are so weak in their potency that, you're just getting like a little bit of like a little something. So okay, you can get a little something if it's potent, but if a little something which is just ordinary, the truth cannot be imparted only through just a word or concepts alone. It has to be infused with the realization of it and the spirit of it, the spirit of the truth. Otherwise, it just becomes knowledge also. But knowledge has to be converted into experience. And the only way in which knowledge or belief can become experience is when it points you directly, and directly, I would say directly, because the actions of God or of truth is always direct, it's always immediate, it's always deep, it always is transformative, isn't it? It cannot just be merely intellectual or something. Intellectual knowledge is okay up to a point, but its potency is not really so deep. So also the listener has a part to play also. They must totally open up their being to a level of receptivity. If you're listening on the fence or listening kind of like a critic or listening like a kind of like mild curiosity, it itself obstructs the fullness of your perception. One has to come really with and this is why it is so important that people feel the truth. They feel it, because when you feel something, that's what we say, you feel something in the heart. You can listen to something, oh yeah, that was clever, wow, that was kind of deep. When you feel it, there's almost a silence. It's almost like a shock. It really happens in here. When it happens in there, then it prepares all your being to be receptive. That's what love does. Love makes you receptive, makes you open, makes you, drink. You drink in. And so the teachings, they come like osmosis. They just get pulled in or pulled up like this. If you go dry, you get very little. This is why very often when people sometimes come for the first time, they come here, I am not really able to speak very much to them, just to welcome and say hello and so on. Rare, from the first day, you meet a deep receptivity. Often what you meet is reluctance, and it takes some time for people to start defrosting, because it's almost like they have to slowly defrost, meaning that something enters into heart energy, not just mind energy. When the mind energy enters into the heart, then you begin to understand spontaneously. You just understand. You don't sweat and struggle and fine. It's not this. It's like it's your receptivity. The pores of your being are totally open to the truth. And this is sometimes the gift of meditation, or of listening to singing a bhajan or chanting, is that it changes the orientation and the energy field from the mind and the ego, and brings it more into the heart. Because only when it comes into the heart, are you really in satsang. You follow or not?
Yes.
Only when the energy moves inside into what I call art energy field, then satsang becomes a joy, because you're listening in a surrendered state. You're listening in a yes. Otherwise, you can see also energetically people, kind of, they're fighting in some struggle. All real wars are internal. The external wars are secondary. The internal war is there. Who wins this war? If your mind, your ego wins this war, then outside it causes trouble in the world. If your heart wins this war, not that it fights, then it ends up with showering blessing upon the world. This is how important this battleground is. What is the battlefield of Krishna and Arjuna? And is it Kurukshetra? Yeah. And that is this. That is this. And Krishna is here, and the Pandavas, they're here. You understand? If you want to understand it in a metaphorical way, this battleground is here. This is the battleground. Fighting for righteousness. These things, they have to clean out your house. They have to clean out your house. When your house is clean, then you'll find the Lord is sitting in your bedroom. Sometimes you don't want to clean out. Your heart has to be feng shui. Your heart has to be clean for the holy presence to arise inside. You see, this is only the talk that can happen in Sangha. And the whole world has to become Sangha. We're not running a campaign. I'm just saying the world has to become Sangha. I mean, it has to be receptive. It has to be open. And sometimes the only way that we become open is if you get punctured. Your lung get punctured. And then something, you become desperate. When you're desperate, you open. Right? You're desperate, open. At first you cling, but it's so unbearable, you have to open. Perhaps the worst of life is mediocrity. Your worst life is mediocrity. Just going from day to day, just going through the motion. Your life must either be highly stressed, highly painful, highly suffering, or highly joyful. If it goes just middle of the road, it's like you are not a candidate for liberation. I don't want to say these things absolutely. I'm just giving a sense. Because many people, they start to suffer from mediocrity. You see, there's always my life. I give up everything for this. Well, this is not anything. I thought that having all these things were going to be something, but I'm lonely. I have nobody at all. So it is nothing. All this money, all this is nothing at all, because I'm not happy. They can't buy me happiness. Then somehow in that desperateness, there are deeper cells open to something that has not yet been recognized. And when I speak these things, it's just like, or when I'm allowed to, when you permit me to, so to speak, there is such joy. There is such joy. Like it has to be released into the world. All the things of the Father, all the things of the Supreme, they are here, but they have to be unlocked. How to unlock them? Your heart has to open. When your heart is open, then the Lord comes. While they're looking for him to come from, he arises from inside. Easy. In Satsang, you have the chance, you have the invitation, you have the pointer to stop identifying with gender. Stop identifying with any specific religion group. Not deeply. Work through it, but don't say I am that. Your I am is the most precious thing you have in your life. Don't give it to any association at all. Keep it unassociated. If I can say that. The I am is the most precious thing in the world. In the fluid, in the dynamic world. Don't combine it with anything. You want to be happy? Listen to me when I say that. Don't associate it with anything. Don't associate it with the body. Don't associate it with politics. Don't associate it with anything in life. Keep it unassociated. Just be in the living, dynamic remembrance of that. Be in the one with it. And then you will overcome everything. You will transcend the mind. There's nothing more valuable. I'm saying valuable. It's beyond value. It's priceless than the sense I am. Though all beings are intuitively, all sentient beings are intuitively the I am, yet they are blind to I am. They give the I am the body, I am the wife, I am the husband, I am the politician, I am the doctor, I am an expert, and then the I am seems to get dirty. You see, don't give the I am. When you say I am, it's your I am what? Just I am. Then the people like, you leave me standing. I am must touch to something. I am a doctor. Oh, yeah, I'm a doctor. Like you feel grounded in the delusion, in the illusion. Can you hold the I am without waiting? Like what now? Just to be in that. That is the true currency of life.
Mooji,
Hmm?
I feel that even with your words, I can see that some misunderstanding can occur when it's the habit is so strong to even when you talk about experiencing it, so through the mind, which is the only tool you can experience things, I mean, as far as I know. So you try to experience it with the mind, but your words are like there's no reference point to what you.
Yes, yes.
That's what I.
If we really understood the mind is like taking your food and putting up your bottom. Trying to understand the truth through your mind is like taking your food and putting it up your bottom. The mind has to be the last to receive the knowledge. Then it gets illumined. But it cannot go in front of you and say, okay, yeah, this is what it means. And the mind is reading, interpreting the truth for you. And then you don't know who you are. It's like the sun waiting for the moon to give it light. This is what effectively, this is why the whole thing doesn't work. It's like the sun, how deluded must the sun be to ask the moon for light? When the moon's light comes from the sun. So then the sun, this is what we call deep ignorance. If the sun, who is a supplier of the moon's light, is asking the moon for some light. We are the self asking the mind to what do you think about what you're hearing. So of course the mind is not going to behave like servant. He's meant to be servant. But you treat him like master, so what's he going to tell you? Hey, it's not good. Don't listen to that. Because you treat the mind like master. So of course the mind is going to behave like master. He said, you're a fool. You call me master. Jump. You start to jump. So why are you jumping? Oh, because my mind told me to jump. You see. And this goes for everybody, in fact. Because immediately you hand everything, I give you the food and you give it to your mind. I give you food, you're going to give it to you. You're hungry, I give you the food, you won't give it to the dog. You're hungry, I give you the food, you won't eat the food. It's just a habit of somehow thinking that, just a habit of, like you think knowledge comes from the mind. Or even you're not even thinking that, but it's just a habit. Is that you hear something, is like the mind takes delivery for it, and of course, why do you think you don't understand things for so long? Because the mind gives you the wrong stuff. It's not on your side when you're choosing righteousness. It's only on your side when you're choosing nonsense. It's like it is for a while, while we are not aware of who we are. I don't even want to blame the mind, like mind is that, mind is that. Mind is an aspect of ourself. It is our relationship with our own kind of projections. So this is what happened, And you see, the thing is that when you say like that, I want to say immediately, but you see this, don't you? You see that the mind is kind of create something. So just the very fact that you can see it, if you acknowledge that, but I can see this, the very fact that you can see it is sufficient evidence that you have some distance from it. Then I ask you immediately then, who are you then? Where are you then? Then why give anything to the mind? You already see that the mind comes after you.
What came up today, because I was talking in the morning in Mirabai, and I was just waking up with this kind of, like you were saying sometimes that you wake up and the mind is already waiting for you.
Yeah.
So, and I was giving her all this kind of arguments, like why it is not sin, and basically at some point she started laughing and then I started laughing because it looks so ridiculous, but when you're inside it, because these things are keep coming back, and and of course if you look at it, it's ridiculous, but somehow the force of the habit, you just go with it, and if you're not looking at, if you not have the chance, like with you, or to be in this place, then you don't really question it, but it's completely crazy. And the strong argument is what I told you just now. It's where is the experience of the, like, it's just so flat somehow,
Yes. In fact, everything in your life becomes flat. Everything becomes flat. I was talking to this lady yesterday, and she was so desperate. I need to talk to Mooji, and I speak with her, and her voice was like that, So Mooji, what should I do, Mooji? I said, my God, look, the vampire sucked almost the last little bit of blood in your neck. Yeah? Every night you're going to bed with your vampire, and of course the vampire kisses you, hello darling, on the lips, but when you're sleeping, in your neck, but you don't know. You think, oh yeah, darling, I love you. You get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, you look purple. Oh, I look so purple. The vampire says, oh, purple looks very nice on you. Oh, you think so, darling? Okay. It's like this, we're like this. Our life force is very weak. My mind just is doing this to me. I said, no, with your permission. Actually, we have to wake up and do this. If you keep blaming the mind, you give your power away. You say, it is something's power that does this on me. But when you say, but I'm collaborating with it, you say, but wait, I have the power to not collaborate with it. And that is taking your power back. You see, this is why I say you have to win yourself back. You have to win your freedom. Because if we look, if we could take statistics, actually, of the human population of the earth, and take the statistics of how of our heart's health in terms of the truth, we are not so developed a species, I will tell you. if you look and say technologically, because yeah, of course, technologically we are great, because who we got to compare ourselves with? The monkeys, the rabbits, who are the donkeys, the birds, the elephant, the whales. Yeah, we are very developed, because we got no one to compare to. Now UFOs are coming into the Earth's atmospheres now, and they are seeing that okay, maybe there are being some other planets that are far more advanced, who are flying spaceships across galaxies, whose spaceships can go like and just disappear. I said maybe they're more intelligent than us, but they are already speaking. Oh, maybe these beings are barbarians. They come. Why would they want to come from Earth? It's like why would you go? Why would you want to, if you are a much higher developed species, why would you want to go to some lower species to take what from them? We are not so developed. We only have a very developed ego. we are not so advanced. We are just advanced in the ego. If you have to know the greatness, the advancement of a country, you don't go and look at their airports. Don't look at the airports and their banks. Go to their hospitals. Go to their dustmen and see. Look at their sanitation. Look at their behavior towards each other. That's how you judge the greatness of a nation. But people want to go, oh, we got so much, ATM machines, and we have all these, we have so many yachts and we have so many Rolls Royces. That's how you judge a nation's wealth. So we don't know how to assess. Our value systems are completely wrong. Because our cultures these days, and it seems to sometimes it seems like spreading on one side, and on the other side it seems like it's coming together. It's not easy. Those readings are not so easy. But it seems on one side we're less caring. The more you go into ego, the less global you are. You just become globally greedy, but not globally compassionate. So I don't know to say that we are so high a species, because we haven't conquered our mind. You conquered all the other species, but yourself you'll not conquer. And we are conquering them using force. And we are afraid of the force we use. Why don't you conquer them with love? You have to first conquer yourself. And this is not just not. But at the same time, it's here. We have to transcend it. We're really self-infatuated. We think we're so beautiful. I've seen some pictures of some of these aliens. To human eyes, they're really ugly. I said, my God, you're not going to be more advanced. They're really so ugly because of the size of their heads or whatever. But maybe to them, we are really ugly. I mean, who can say? This is going to be the test. Maybe when they come, they're going to come here laughing at us. You're still monkeys, you got hair. We can play with these things, can't we? Yeah. Honestly, this is our mistakes are repetitive for a while, because it's almost as though wherever a bit of darkness lodges in us, it feeds from darkness. It's like holding. And it's not that we are deluded about everything in life. Not at all. Maybe most things don't trouble you. Most things in the world, 99% of things in the world probably don't trouble you. But that 1% is enough to hold us. Like somebody say, what, 1% in the DNA, or maybe even less than that, between man and monkey. They say like this. Maybe just take a little bit of delusion, and your whole being seems to be covered up. Is it good that I talk like this? Is it okay? Or should I say nice things? Pretty
No.
things. This is nice things.
Nice.
Your time is coming. Your time is coming. I can feel it, I'll tell you. You're going to burst open and in full bloom. You have to do it.
Time is gonna come.
Because it can't go on like that. No, it can't go on like that. I don't see any future for that.
I don't know how you can stand it for this.
Because I know you, that's why. I know what is there. And actually, what is there is very beautiful. You see.
Sometimes you show a little bit of perspective.
These are my jackpot, even on my jackpot, my lottery numbers. I'm just waiting for the last number. Look up this last number. Let it mirror. Come in number 5. Something doesn't become obvious until it becomes obvious. When it becomes obvious, you go, wow. But I always know this. I say, don't start showing off now. If I were to say to you, you are the light of the world, would it be wrong for me to say this too? Oh dear. You are the light of life. You are the lighthouse of the world. What are the role you're going to play on this planet? Some things won't be known just yet.
When you say it's like the most difficult things to me to just say yes to it, to accept it.
Hmm?
When you say it, for me it's like the most difficult things to just like say yes to it, to accept it.
To say yes to it. Yes. You must take my word for it first, and then say, like, let them open up their real meaning inside my heart. Because sometimes I just feel, you guys are a waste of time, man. I might say like this. You're going to hear me say many different things. You're the light of the world. You're a waste of bloody time. Get out of here. Hopeless case.
I don't trust this. I don't trust piano.
But hopeless case has to go. But this hopeless case has to go. Which is hopeless case.
One time I went into I don't know where it was. A few people were there, and I said, "Listen, there's too many people here." And everybody started to pick up their coats to leave. I said, "No, there's too many people here. I only want presence here. I don't want people here." And they will get stuck, they don't know what to do. Eh? There's too many people here. I don't want people here, I want presence here. I could have 1 billion presence here, I'm happy. But 3 people is really too much. Then will you stay or go?
Stay.
This is your challenges. Sometimes you have to make that stand. Don't let the other things decide for you. There's too many people here. The house is too much full of people. Yeah, Sandwich. We'll see you later, okay? No. There's too many people here. It's okay to be presence here, but not people here. Okay. See you next time. Okay, see you, Mr. Person. Bye bye. Go. Isn't it? You follow it, no? So will you stay or will you go? Huh?
Both.
What?
Both.
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 Let the person
Ah,
go.
ah,
Let the
ah.
person stay.
This is good. This is good.
Stay.
As?
Priceless.
Mooji?
Huh?
I don't know, it's just, this evening is just, what Kelsey says, it's just grace. Because it's just.
That's a joker.
This thought just came just now. If you want to lose weight fast, sit inside a acid bath. You understand what I mean by
Yes.
that? Okay. And you won't see where it went.
But it feels just like acid, but it's so light. It's,
Something dying, but I'm so alive. Yeah? Something dying, but I'm so alive.
Sweet death.
Sweet
death.
departure. Not you.
Yeah, you stay alive, baby.
I stay.
Huh?
I stay.
You stay. How you stay?
I stay as the willingness to trust.
The willingness to
Trust.
trust. Are you holding on to anything?
Yes.
What are you holding on to?
Right now, what it feels that it's holding on, it's still the sense of autonomy, or the sense of like yes, I can connect to that, but I wanna do it. Like still have some sense of me in that somehow, and sometimes like it gets on the way, the sense of master or guru or the devotion part that I see, and I see that still holds on, not wanting to become that
Yes.
somehow.
Good, you're honest about it. I don't require anybody's devotion. But you need to be devoted.
I see it as a sort as well, and that's why I'm just trying to not to ride on the wave, but now I'm just staying with it somehow. But I notice it. I notice that it's there. It's like I want to hear you. I realize sometimes like, oh, when I hear just on video, it's easier somehow. It's like I can hear it and then take it on my own. And here it's like, no, you're here. And when this thought is there, I feel that when it's not there, there's no problem at all, and the devotion comes by itself. But when it's there, I feel that separateness somehow.
Yes. There's nothing to do about that. Sometimes I have something to say about that. Sometimes I feel to go into that, but mostly I feel I have nothing to say about that. Just have to let that be. Just have to let that be. Is anything wrong with it? Nothing wrong with it. Well, I cannot say nothing wrong with it because it's eating you. And that's all. I cannot say nothing wrong with it. This I see, but there is a courtesy inside to know that whatever is meant to be is just meant to be. I don't have a future about it. I don't say, oh, it will be for so long. I don't know. Because I've seen people drop everything for whatever reason, and I've seen people who seem to drop things and pick them up again. And so I don't feel like I want to get into that mess. There's, some seem to drop something, and then they seem to go back at some minute and they pick it up because something inside was not dropped. You know, there are many people who came to satsangs in different satsangs all over the world, the different masters and so on, and they seem to have come to a realization inside the heart, but they didn't put everything on the fire. They held something back, consciously or unconsciously. But whatever it is, conscious or unconscious, those seeds will sprout. And when they sprout, they will have a force with them. They will carry some power with them. And whether it is the fear of being alone or you know, whatever, it can be so many things. It will come. And on the day that it comes, you will be serving it for the most part, at least for a while. And you will serve it. And I can't criticize that because I just feel like, you know, each one's destiny, each one's karma is being played out in accordance with the cosmic mind. It just has to go out like that. If something acts through this body to say something, then it is said. But in the end, the accounts is not with me. I don't want to keep any account of it. But I don't say I don't care about this. If something cares. But I know when to stop. Because when your contractions have started, it's you who have to push. I can tell you push, but it's you who will have to do it. And it is good, like these last days when we talked about these things, about each person writing down, trying to clarify what it is that keeps the notion of themselves alive, what it is that makes them themselves, and so on. And hearing things coming out and people, you know, coming out with a certain amount of honesty from the perspective of where they locate their being. If it's still centered very much into the person, or there's more space between the person and the self. And to hear even, like I say, saying the other day that, or yesterday, or a few days ago, that when I say God is my secretary, like, wow, man, that really scares me, because I have to be my secretary. My mind has to be my secretary. And then you believe, you talk as though your mind is your servant, but we live as though the mind is your boss. You see, because you can't take a holiday from your mind. You can't put it down. You can't get away from it. Wherever you go, it is with you. And the relationship is not, it's not necessarily a sweet one. It's full of promises unfulfilled for the most part. So you're always a pursuer somehow. I look on these things and I say, I can only point them out. You have to have the eyes to see it, though. And I will only speak inside the temple of being. I'm not going to go out and talk in the fish markets about it. The temple of being means where those who have come with an openness, wherever that may be. The temple of being could be in a toilet, it could be somehow outside a brothel, it could be anywhere. But just your heart is present enough to hear something. And then I call that the temple of being. And then I would say, then we will see how that functions inside your being, whether it is turns away from that. But I think everyone knows anyway what is meant when we say like this. That there's a fear inside. I don't want to lose my autonomy, and I know myself that is a dream talk, but I can't make you wake up from it as yet. Because for me, there's only one autonomy, and it's the autonomy of the Supreme, of which I am not merely a part. I am one. I'm more one with that, I would say. And the illusion of, I need to have my life and do my own thing, that sleep is over really for me. Thankfully, that's been my great fortune in this life. When I hear that, I say, okay, that's fair enough. It just reminds me that illusion is still strong in the human kingdom. And also it is based upon ignorance, because you don't know the beauty of the real you. That's why you defend that limited sense of you. Because we think that without our ego we are nothing, as in that blank or something. And this mistake throws the world into chaos and suffering for me, if you don't see that. If one embraces autonomy, you can never be truly open. You see, and yet I can't tell you don't embrace. I can say to someone, I would, what is whose autonomy? See if you can identify whose autonomy it is. Try and see if you can see yourself, the one who has autonomy. Whose autonomy? Who are you calling? I'm not ready for that. Just understand that. But then enough said about it. And it's good that we talk about it now, because I prefer you fail now and succeed later than seem to succeed now and fail later. Because I've seen people who have come, as I said before, and have been very much feeling like they're in the heart of Satsang. And then shortly afterwards, for me, they sell their kingdom for a horse. I see it many times. So, for those who I suppose the more there is that living in the community of being, and then all your little hideouts get exposed all the time. You get familiar with the tricks of your own mind. You can see it more clearly, and then you are somehow confronted to keep choosing the higher thing. If you're not, then this place will either become unbearable for you, or you break out of this mind prison. Sometimes I see and I speak with people, listen to people who seem very, very knowledgeable about some things, and yet I don't feel from them. I meet a lot of people. Sometimes some people come here from outside or whatever they come, and I see them speak, and they've got a certain kind of confidence, and they speak a certain thing, and yet inside them there is not the space for the Supreme. They're not at all in that vicinity of the miraculous. Everything is still man-made. Everything is still something to do with man's idea of life. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, but it's still like they're experts, or they've got a strong opinions about life. They talk to you like they can talk to you like this, but it's all in the world of man's delusions. They're experts in their own projections. And all that for me matters in a human being is if I can feel the pulse of God in you. Yeah, I know it is there, but it has to be it has to be evident. It has to that it radiates something. It has to be that you don't depend upon your tongue, on your mouth, to convey who you are. That somehow the God light, the Christ light can be seen, can be felt in your presence even without you speaking a word. Because your life becomes the perfume of that understanding. What is the ego? I mean, what is the ego? So all I would say is, if you, in your heart, are embracing your autonomy as a person, that's what you're holding on to consciously, then it's better you go to that person and live that person's life. Because you will never really be fully here. You will not be able to take the most out of some place like this. Because you have not yet recognized the cost of identity. I must be at least beginning to see that, to see what it is, and the cost to your being. You have to be seeing, or at least maybe the swings of the opposites is so strong. There's so much extreme, so that when you're in delusion, you're really in the delusion, and when you're in the space, you feel, oh my God, I'm so happy, and then for a while it can be like this. But something has got to be, there has to be inside that, I am waiting for my chance, because I'm saying yes to the truth. You cannot be clinging to identity. I mean, that is that is just the most poisonous thing. That is just the most poisonous thing that you hold to you. And yet I feel everybody here is clinging to some extent to identity. Maybe to not such a loud extent, but to some extent we hold it. We see in our little personal conflicts that come up between persons, and this kind of, who do you think you're talking to? And I see this is your devil, actually, and we are still defending this when it comes to it. And you might think in your mind, really, you've read the books, you can speak like Ramana, you can do all these things, but really you've not killed your devil. You're still somehow, but I didn't mean that, why are you picking on me? And this is your devil. And this is one who's standing in front of the gate of nirvana, in front of you, and you are protecting it. There must be some maturity enough to come to a satsang with me. It just has to be that something. Otherwise, what I find with people, they leave and they go to a lesser place where their ego doesn't get challenged. They go to another teacher which don't challenge their ego, so that they can carry on thinking, yes, I'm still here, but I'm really not there with Mooji anymore, or whatever it is. Because you don't have the courage, you don't have the balls to stand up for yourself. You're just kind of riddling away. You've chosen the ephemeral, you've chosen the perishable. Yeah. And try to dress it up, to hide behind your fig leaf of an ego. And I need people who are strong, who really can win this life, because it's not easy to win. And it is impossible if you embrace your identity as a person. Then your chance is like, unless it's just a delusion is about to burst, that is something. But if you choose, which you have the full right within the paradigm of duality and of relativity, to feel a choice that I wish to be here, then I cannot challenge that choice. I cannot say to somebody, oh, you better. No, I said, but this is freedom. This is freedom within the dream. You are free to be free, and you're free to be bound. But I will only walk with beings who are open for liberation. I can't be with anybody on board who somehow is holding on to themselves as a person. Because you are like a risk to everyone. It won't be beautiful. It won't be beautiful. And yet at the same time, I have to say, I cannot reject you, but I can reject attitude. I can reject that somehow the attitude is not yet ready. But I can never reject your heart. You see? And even to say I reject, I'm not so comfortable with reject, accept, reject. And in fact, sometimes I don't accept anything, I don't reject anything, actually. Sometimes this is my feeling. And sometimes I feel, out. Another time, come. But it's not, everything, none of it is just whimsical. It comes from this place, this conversing. You see?
I'm aware that I'm not as open as I could be. But I also know, like you said before, it's like I don't want to jump ahead. I know, because I've done that before, and to say I'm already somewhere where I'm not. And I think
yes, I appreciate.
Be on the path truly with all my being. I need to make visible whatever, because then I can really follow.
Yes, this is why I said to you. This is why I say to you, what you're saying is not so strange to me, because almost everybody here is carrying some of that inside. We are still defending some person inside, and I know it, because as yet I don't feel like I'm in the presence of Christ. I don't feel like I'm in the presence of Christ. I just don't. I don't feel like I'm in the presence of the Prophet or Muhammad or one of any of the great beings, and it's only you who can let them through, because they're in you. It's only you can open the door from inside you to show them. But you want to show the world your monkey face. We're in love with our monkey face. And it's not even Animan I'm talking about. You see, so I don't single you out. I'm just saying, it is an indication that everybody carries that I see. Now and again, or there are moments when your divinity is self-evident. But like a cloud comes in, cloud says, "My God." This is why sometimes I have to speak as I do like that. I said, you're not on the radar yet. Nobody's out of the water yet. Not yet. Maybe something is risen inside. The yeast is moving through, but the bread is not sufficiently. It's not baked yet, because it's easy to think that oneself is awake. It's not good to think you're awake, even. It's better to think you're not awake. But better than that is not to think at all. You know? And just keep looking for whenever that seed of personhood arises, just to keep checking it in and just cut it at the root. You don't have to say, yeah, now I'm awake, or no, just keep quiet. And
I know this is not that important on some level, but it's been happening a lot that in satsang it feels like something is grabbing my heart, and something is like, there was a lot of energy in my head, and it's quite uncomfortable in my body. Most of the time I just ignore it, but it's like right now it feels
sometimes those energies are playing tricks, because something is still trickable. You have to be not trickable. Doesn't matter what is going on inside. You just make sure that you are paying attention. When you pay attention, you're living in your higher choice. You know, leave the body to God. Just say, you know, okay, this is your department. I don't know anything what to do here. I don't know where these headaches. I don't know where this tightness in my head is. But don't let it interfere with what you speak in my heart. Boom, like that you do. See? But I don't like to talk as though the mind has so many tricks and stuff. It's not that the mind has any tricks. It's just that somehow we are still so much involved in the story of the world and so on like that. So the mind grows on that diverse interest of yours and appears through so many different forms. As soon as you're unified inside and you feel, because I don't want to put across to anyone, the realizing the self is difficult. I cannot say that. You are the self. This is what I say. You are the self. Let's have a look at what stands in the way of your natural recognition that you are the self. This is what I'm saying. You see? But then we talk about the mind and these things, and because you're still involved with your identity. We're still holding that. And is there a way really out of this? Is there really a way out of it? Well, I don't feel that I'm no exception. Why can't you? You know, if you fall in love with someone and your heart is beating for them, and then they take a flight somewhere and the plane crashes and you hear everybody perished except one person, we don't know who it is. You would search all over this planet. You'd walk barefoot to go and find the beloved. It could just be them. Wouldn't you do it? You would do it. Why don't you do it for your heart? He's inside your heart. Why don't you find him in your heart? This is the paradox. This is the strangeness that I'm trying to expose. You see, you fall in love. You meet somebody after 3 weeks of seeing them. You're totally in love. You're consumed in this love. They take off and they vanish for some while, and they're on a plane with 300 people. The plane crashes, and they hear this one person. One person survived. They don't quite know who. How many people is going to go and look to see if it's their beloved? They go over everything. They find it. You're poor. You have no money. You go and work. You earn money to just get a ticket to go to this place, to walk barefoot through some hill to take a look to say, oh, it's not you. Wouldn't you? I'm pointing you to the one from whom you can never separate, really. You're paying all this devotion to your monkey. So I said, you're a joke. Everybody, we are a joke. We are a joke. Monte Sahaja, your residents, they are a joke. I have to say like that. I don't want to have to single out any particular person. Everybody's a joke. And don't take any comfort in that. It just shows the thickness of the delusion. I said, but either, you know what, either I'm wrong about this or I'm right about it. Either I'm wrong about it or I'm right about it. If I'm wrong about it, prove me wrong and get the hell away from me, because I won't be any good for you. And if I'm right, follow every word I'm telling you until you find what I'm pointing to. But I don't know who to speak those type of words to, anybody, because I'm not on a commission to be here. I'm only speaking to you from some place that some place wants to speak to you. Sometimes people, they're very happy to sit in, some kind of, I don't know, some kind of Hollywood satsang, to be surrounded by lovely waterfalls and lovely colors and stuff like this, and where people never talk to you directly. They never tell you you're full of bullshit. They just have a nice way of saying, yes, darling, that is so nice, and you're on the right path, and all this kind of, some people like that. That's the way that they can take their spiritual food. But I'm not so much like that. No. There are some people, when they're too sick or they're too helpful, you have to push the medicine down their throat for them, because that's what is required. And for others, you tell them, listen, take the medicine. You say, take it in a minute. No, I want to sit here and watch you take it. You say you want to be well. I want to sit. You say, I went and got the medicine. No, you sit and take it. I want to sit here. If you don't take it, I don't get no more medicine for you. You understand? Another one, they say, yeah, Mooji, you got it? Yeah, here it is. Right, I got to see you later. Boom, because my trust is with you. It is like that. Don't expect that your ego should be appeased, that your ego should be respected. You should feel happy with me, because the day that is the case, then we better just close shop, forget about it. Something has to fight. You have to fight sometime. You can be a pacifist later, but sometimes you have to fight now. You have to fight for yourself, because forces are functioning inside. A bit of laziness that seem like it's quite okay, and yes, you don't always have to be fighting. You don't always have to be doing anything. But sometimes there's a moment you have to fight. And when time to fight, fight. Isn't it? When it's time to embrace, embrace. When it's time to surrender, surrender. When it's time to kick ass, kick ass. Don't apologize. Be true to the moment. I'm not telling you, oh, every day, are you working hard enough? Are you working? No, I'm not this. I can't do that. I can't keep up any practice like that. But when it's the time to fight, thing inside will tell you, fight. Don't philosophize, fight. When it's time to bow down, bow down. When it's time to reject everything, reject everything. When it's time to accept everything, accept everything. Because it's not even you doing it. It's just the urge is doing it. Don't identify. There was a time I did not have a teacher like this. You know, I just sat in my room, and I could only hold on to the sense of being. I only knew the sense of being. That was my Lord. I just sat in that. I was looking for somebody who could speak to me like I'm speaking with you. I did not find anybody like that. I just found them here and there, somebody speak a few words and blew me away a bit or whatever. You see? I did not find that one. I just sat. But that sitting was very important because I had to find the one thing that was the most important thing. Sometimes you have to be alone. For some work you have to be alone. You just have to be alone for a bit. Thereafter you can be in a crowd of thousands of people, but you're alone. But when you're alone, by alone, you're not lonely. When you're with thousands of people, you're not mixed. Okay. Thank you. Each one of the people that you speak to, they have to come from very weak. You have to speak with them very nice, very gentle, very soft. As you get stronger, you can take stronger medicine. When you're very strong, you're just ready to be killed. In the most beautiful way. Maybe I shouldn't talk like that, so it's so easy to misunderstand when I'm speaking. Hmm? Yeah.
I want to be killed.
I like how you say when you say residents of Monte Sahaja are a joke, and then you say don't take any comfort in that. I like that you say that because somebody can take comfort in that fact. That just okay. So it's like that. So I like that you say that. Don't take any comfort in that.
There's a saying that when you have the light, like a candle, right there you light a candle, and immediately under the candle is a shadow. You can be right in the presence of your own teacher, your own master, and stay in the shadow. People far away appreciate that light more than you. You know? You have to be careful. Or you have a relationship with someone and you think that the purpose of this relationship is to be personal. Big mistake. Purpose of the real relationship is to know God. To find God in each other's company. You see? And then your relationship slowly decays because it becomes too personal. Every relationship that is too personal becomes decay. It becomes toxic. You see, a relationship has to bring out the weaknesses in you in a way that most other relationships can't do it. A relationship you have with somebody in an intimate romantic relationship is a particular tool of consciousness to pull out the last bit of dirt out of you, to show where you're still attached to some projection, to some fantasy, and to bring it out so you can see it. Because only such a relationship will really become beautiful if you look at these things and you grow from them. But in relationships, people still defend their egos. Now, any of you can try and challenge me on that one. They still defend the ego at the bottom of the day. You're beloved, but at the end of the day, you're still defending your ego. And that's how you know how deeply entrenched our ego is. I'm not saying a relationship should not have a fight in it. Sometimes you have to fight, but it must be a fight of justice. Sometimes justice has to fight. It has to be angry. It has to kill something because it's not true. But that's a righteous killing. That's a righteous truth. Not saying you have to be every time. No. Sometimes you have to fight. For righteousness, you fight. You see. Not saying you mustn't argue. Sometimes you have to argue. Sometimes to argue in a relationship is to save it. But not routine argument. If you're routinely arguing, it's too much cancerous. You might as well just get out. If you're not growing from your interactions. Sometimes you have to fight for something. And you have to stand up firm for something. And you have to be ready that even this relationship will go if it doesn't come true. You have to be strong like that. You should never have to be like, at any cost, I will keep this relationship. That's a fool's promise. If somebody told me, at any cost, I'll keep my relationship with you, I said, no, please release me. That's suffocating. That's a kind of bondage. It has to grow. It has to be light. It has to show some light. You have to grow. You cannot just accept each other's weaknesses and stuff. I say, no, you don't have any original weaknesses. If I'm going out with you, I want the best. You show you your worst too. Show me the worst. But I want the best. Why should I go out with you and get the worst? I want the best. And I want keeping having the best also. Every day the best. I give him my best, I feel the best. But every day, oh my God. I married a vampire. Isn't it? You want to marry? Marry God. He always looks beautiful. Always speaks the truth. Always do what is good for you. Always put you first. Always show you when you're not true. Always encourage you to be true. Good night, everybody. Namah Shivaya.
Shri Ramana Bhagavate Shri Punjaji Bhagavate Shri Mooji Ji Bhagavate Om Shri Hare 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 Om Shri Hare Hare Shri Lord Shiva Bhagavate Om Shri Hare 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 Om Shri Hare